Hello everyone, today I'm going to explain about the project. We did a general administration system, so let's look at the GUI. First we are treated with a login page. Let me type in the login ID. So first we can look at the code here. This is the code for the login. This is inside the action performed function. So it first checks whether the user ID consists of F&A, which means it's a faculty, or if it contains SNT, which means it's a staff. So basically two groups of people can log in, which is the staff and faculty. Those two people will have different user interfaces because they have different functionalities that which they can perform. So the visibility is controlled accordingly. So if if a faculty has faculty data is entered and login is pressed, this piece of code will be executed, which is here a new faculty object is created passing in the ID and the password, and it's logged in. Let's look at the login function. So here we have a login function which takes in all these arguments. These arguments are used here. We have the order menu, request menu, and supply menu. As this is for the faculty login, the request menu is only made visible. The order menu and supplier menu are not made visible. And then this function is called. This login function is called. This function is there in the employee class, which is an abstract class from which the faculty and staff is extended. So both the faculty and staff use this. So let's take the staff one. So here it is almost the same function, except that here the order menu and supplier menu and request menu are made visible, and the login function is called. It's almost the same. So in the employee function we have a login function. Here the data is the password and ID is the username, and isFac is a boolean which specifies if this login call is made by faculty or not. So this piece of code here is used to convert the password into a hash using SHA-256. Here data is the password which is updated in the MD object, and it is computed here. And since this hash may have certain characters which may not be able to be printed, so it is converted to a hex, and then it is then this function is called check password, which checks if the password which is given here is the same as the one which is stored in the database. The password stored in the database is also hashed, so the hash values of hash value of this password should match with the one which is given in the database. So that is checked here. Okay, so here we have an array list which is used to store the IDs in the database. So here we connect to the database, and we have the query select password from, and this condition is used isFac. If it is a faculty, it will be true, so this will be added to the query, or else it is a staff, so this will be added. So then setString is used to substitute the question mark here with the ID. So the command will be select password from faculty, where faculty ID is equal to the ID, or staff, where staff ID is equal to this ID. So then we will have a list of passwords which are with the hashed passwords, a list of passwords. So we check if any one of it is equal to this ID, If it is, it will return true, else it will return false after going through all the list of passwords. So okay, we can take a look at the GUI. Here we have FA10, which is faculty, and we have also set a password. Let's check. So here it will take some time because the database is database is in remote server. So we have entered here. So application has closed, and in the item menu we can view the items and view the inventory. Here items is the list of items, which doesn't particularly mean that it is there in the inventory. So also, let's also look at the inventory. So we have in the inventory we have the item ID, the reorder details, quantity, and the reorder level, and in the request we can see the list of incomplete requests, request history, add request, and we can also update the request. So first let us look at the view items and view inventory. This piece of code is for the view items button. The view items button menu button is clicked. So let's first look at this function, set all components invisible. It is basically what it says it is. It makes almost all, not all the components invisible, so that we don't have to use those statements again and again to make the useless statements invisible. So first we create an item is created and get items is used. Let's look at the function. Here get items connects to the database, and the query select star from item is used, so that we get all the items. Here data is passed. As you can see, data is passed here. Data is basically a two-dimensional array which is used in the table. So whatever data there is in the table, it will be visible in the JTable which is being spawned. So if we so get items. So okay, if we first all the data in the data two-dimensional array is made null, and then we assign all these item ID, item name, and cost per item into these variables, and it is added into the data variable. And then this basically means that it can be viewable in the table. So as you can see, the column names are item ID, item name, and cost name, and a default table model is created, and which is passed to the JTable class, and it is assigned to the J variable, which is used in all the cases. And we use some other statements to make the to insert color and to set the size and all. And the view inventory is mostly the same. Here instead of item we go to the inventory class, and inventory view items is used, which is basically the same thing except it is from inventory. So it is basically same code except it is from the inventory. So what else is there? Let's look. So here view items and view inventory is there, and in requests there is incomplete requests, which from which we will get the requests from the request to the staff which logged in, only the staff which logged in. We can see that it is faculty FA10, the faculty from which we logged in. So the requests to faculty 10 which are still not completed will be shown here. So let's look at the function. Incomplete. So incomplete, we have the incomplete request. Set all components invisible is used first, and then manager dot get request is used here. Let's look where the manager is. Manager is a request order manager, which is a function, which is a class which has two functions, get requests and get orders. Here get requests takes in the data which is used in the table, an ID which is the user ID, and a boolean which specifies whether you want the incomplete data or the whole data. So here incomplete means the data for which you need the request for which the requests are not yet completed. Yeah, so it's loading, 1 minute. So okay, so here we have all the requests made by faculty FA10. Faculty FA10 is the faculty from which we have logged in. So all the requests made by faculty 10 which are not yet completed, that will be shown here. So for this to be shown, here incomplete should be true. So if it is true, if incomplete is true, request completed equal to false is added in the query, else it is not added. So all the requests will be printed. So that would be needed for the request history, which will print all the requests from all the time, which will be true, not considering whether it is true or false. Now look at the add request function, not a function particularly. So let's add an okay, we have add an order here, which is basically almost the same as that. So here we so this is the button, this is the menu option. If this menu option is clicked, all these components will be visible and the rest of the components will be made invisible. And if we press the add order button, so first let's look. Okay, so this is the GUI you will see when a person who is a staff has logged in. He can add an item, view item and view an inventory, and he can also view the orders and add an order, update an order, view the incomplete order, almost same as the requests. And he also has a item supplier table, which we will get into. So first here we have add order thing. So let's take an add order. So okay, I have filled the this add order form. We have an order ID, quantity, the item which we need to order, and the supplier to which the order is placed. I have some constraints in place. I won't be able to show everything since it could take some time. So first we check if the order exists or not. So for this we use a static function exists of class order. So order ID is passed in this exists function. It is connected to the database, and the query select order ID from orders where order ID like ID. So it's basically, it lists out all the order IDs which are similar, for which the order ID is the argument. So it will return, so basically it will check if the order ID is already there or not. If it is there, it will return true, else it will return false. So here if it returns true, it will show a warning that this order ID is already there. So let me show, I will show you. Okay, I don't know. Okay, so then next we have it will check if the item ID already exists or not. It is not here, so it is all this exists function is almost the same for item as well. So if we look at this, it will check if the ID is all this item is already there or not. If it is there, it will return true, else it will return false. So if it returns false, that means the item that is used here, this item is not there. So if it is not there, it will show a message in the message box that this item is not there. And And next we'll check the supplier ID if the supplier is there or not. It is similar to this exists function. Supplier also has an exists function which is static as well. Checks if supplier exists or not. If it doesn't exist, it will return false, which is and in which a not operation is used. So this will become true, and then it will show a dialog option that supplier ID doesn't exist. Similarly, we will check. We will use another function, supplier check if supplies. This function basically checks whether the particular supplier supplies this item or not. So for this we join two tables. These tables are supplier table. We join three tables: the supplier table, item table, and item supplier table. After joining these tables, we'll check if in a row if we get the supplier ID and the item ID which is passed as arguments. If we get that, it means that the supplier will supply that item. So this will return true, else it will return false. So basically those are the conditions. So I'll write a wrong item ID here. So let's check. Okay, so it is showing that the item ID you entered does not exist. Please try again after referring to the item list. Okay, so this item ID basically doesn't exist. It is not there in the item list. So we'll try to do a item which already exists. It also needs that the supplier also need to be able to supply this item, so it is true in this case. And okay, so the supplier ID doesn't exist. Okay, so it's my mistake. It's not ST, supplier is SU. So the order is basically done. So first I will show you the table incomplete orders. It was activated before, so there are no incomplete orders. So now when we check for incomplete orders, there should be an, look here, we have an incomplete order. We just added that order, so it is not complete yet. So that basically is the incomplete order thing. And incomplete history is the whole orders which we looked into before, and we have an add order which we looked at, and we have an update order thing also. So let's look at the update order. Update order, we got it. So here is the update order menu, and here is the update order button. So here what we do is we check if the order exists or not, which is we looked into it before. And if it doesn't exist, then we show a warning. Else we will update the order such that the order becomes true. The order is completed. The is complete attribute is given as true. And we have update request, which is similar. And we also have add item here, which is similar to add order or add request for that matter. So that is basically it. Okay, we have a item suppliers here. So item suppliers table gives the items that each of the suppliers will provide. Here the supplier Harinath will provide item I10, whereas Vinod can provide a table and a chair as well. So let's look at the code for this. Okay, so this is the get supplies code. Most of the code is same for all the menu options. So the other thing we use is get supplies here. Get supplies basically connects to the database and uses this query. It selects the supplier ID, supplier name, item ID, and item name. We just need to display all these attributes. For this we join three tables: supplier ID, item, and item supplier. And as before, we initialize these variables as null, and we take all the supplier name, supplier ID, all these attributes into the data members of supplier, which is supplier name and supplier ID, and we assign this to the data which is a 2D array. So this prints the this helps us to see the table here that we saw before. So that is basically it. Thank you.